Good afternoon. I think I'm all set up here. Bit of late notice on this one today. Kind of challenging sometimes when you've got a little one, just scheduling stuff around them. Okay. I think we're all set up. Cool. Obviously recording, we're live on YouTube, which is awesome for everyone in the other time zones who aren't able to access the stream. Is this in-game music? Oh, that's the music that's on the stream starting window, right? The answer, I'm going to say no, but you'll probably be hearing it a little bit whilst we go through the alphas. I've got a pack of music. Well, I've got numerous packs of music, actually, numerous sets of themed music that I've accumulated over the years, like fully licensed and everything. Just over 20 years working in games development. You sort of pick these things up. Studios get rid of stuff and all that kind of stuff, and you just pick up the licenses. That's kind of how it works. But I've got like gigabytes and gigabytes of this sort of stuff. So I was browsing through the libraries that I've got yesterday, and there were some folders that I thought looked interesting. I've never really listened to them before. I pulled a few bits of music out just to use, just to sort of fill the audio space temporarily until we are ready in the future to commission some Knitties specific, some proprietary Knitties music. Hi Toasty. Oh, your box is on my list today. I've got loads of boxes, surrounded by boxes again, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, because cool stuff comes in boxes, right? But yeah, I've got this box down here with some stuff in it apparently, so I need to open it up on stream, but it has to stay off screen for reasons. But I'll be bringing this stuff up as I unbox it. Yeah, I don't know how busy we're going to be this afternoon. I've got a variety of different windows open. Potatoes just reminded me why the box needs to stay off screen. Hello. Heaven Boy 2 random with the Christmas trees in the name. I think we're going to be doing our Christmas tree this weekend, actually. I've got to get up in the loft, and it's an artificial one, but it's a really nice artificial one. And I'll get up in the loft and get it down. And what I quite like about Christmas is laying out the lounge in a different layout, so it feels like it's a little bit of a new house for a little while. It's quite interesting. I used to love Christmas as a kid for that reason. Like a different layout, different places to hide temporarily. Okay, so let's do some box stuff, shall we? And then we can move on to having a look at Nitty Nook and the sort of stage we're up to at the moment, which is essentially around getting art assets, testing compatibility. We made a lot of assumptions. I've made a lot of assumptions about the art being transferable, and I've been correct in all of that. But there are some things we need to keep an eye on, and basically we're transferring art at the moment. A lot of the assets might need a touch up and a bit of redoing, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Okay, so let's have a look in this box. Okay, have I got... Okay, I need to open it. I can't... Okay. Um, oh, these are cool. Okay, right. Let's 3 of them. Okay, let's have a look. I'm just going to pull them out in the order that they come in, and let's. I'm probably going to have to loosen that off a bit. Let's just loosen that off. It's all right. It's coming onto screen in a minute. There we go. Oh, it's got some card in it. Let's just take that out. Okay. So we've got some. These are like special baseball caps. This one's like, this one is made up of like normal twill material. Let's see if I can take it. Hang on, I'll just mute my mic and I'll put it on. Actually, no, I'll put one of the other ones on actually. But yeah, it's that's great. Look at that. So these are from Toasty, sent over from Toasty, made in the USA. Look. So these are okay. So yeah, they're called flannels. I forgot what they were called for a while, and they're called flannels because of the ones I'm going to show you. But I suppose if you're based in America, you kind of know what all this is about. So yeah, made in the USA, awesome. And that one's got, I don't know who these teams are, but that looks like is it Astro Boy? I think that's Astro Boy. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, again, these are presumably for teams. Like they're probably like little league teams or something. I don't really know. Let's take the card out of this. Just adjust it a bit. Okay. Actually, I can just leave the card in on the ones I'm not putting on. So again, it's like, look at this. Like, so this is why they're called flannels. Is because they're made of well, I guess it's called flannel. It's almost like felt, a felt-like material. You can't wash these. Like, you've got to I can't remember how you clean them. I presume you just like brush them off or something. Yeah, and it's like a really interesting material. Now this is like the old school baseball like material, like the original sports fabric, if you like, the original sports wool type thing. I don't know. I'll have to look up what these teams are. And I think so. Potato saying, "Hey Naru, there's one in particular that Toasty thought of you for. Now I'm thinking it might be this one. Oh, this one feels really good. This one feels different to the other ones. Like this one has got the others have got like hard peaks. This one's different, and I think I know. I think this is the one that you. Yeah, vintage baseball caps. Yeah. So this one is it the Oakland Oaks? And Bon Iver has got a hat that's like this, and I really like it. And you can't find them anywhere. So how fantastic is that? That's great, isn't it? Thank you very much, Toasty. I'm going to try this one on now. I'm going to have to probably make it a bit bigger for my big head. And that's another interesting thing about these, is because of the way that they're made. Like the idea is they eventually like stretch to fit your head and all that kind of stuff. So let me just mute my mic. Okay, so there we go. And this peak's like a soft peak. It's really nice. How cool is that? That's awesome. Thank you so much. There's some other stuff in here as well. Oh, these are the bits of, like, what does it say? Do not wash in water. Just checking my mic's on. If dirty, use a soft brush or spot clean, and this can be placed back in the cap for it to keep its shape. Okay. It's great, like even the pack, even like the wrap that they come in is just got a really cool pattern to it. Okay. Oh, they come with a brush. Awesome. So they even come with a cleaning brush. That's so cool. Bon Iver collab. Well, you know, we can do some different cap designs and stuff. It'll be pretty awesome. These are great. Like, I don't think you can get these in the UK. It's awesome. Thank you so much, Toast. That's very kind of you. And I don't think there's anything. Let me just have a look. A few things from Con that will stay in the box. Okay, so I've been promising unboxing that for ages, and we haven't done a stream for a while for a number of reasons. You know, today I almost had to cancel because if any of you are in the UK, you know there's a lot of issues with the NHS at the moment, and National Health Service, and my partner needed to go and get some blood drawn for a blood test, and there were no needles. They have no needles. And she got transferred to a different GPs. No needles. The only needles they had were because a nurse used to work at the hospital and knows some people, and goes there and visits them, and occasionally just takes a box of needles for the GP office. How crazy is that? That's absolutely crazy. So to get her bloods drawn, she's gonna have to go like next week. She was gonna do this afternoon, but I was like, got a stream. So she's gonna go on Monday now, I think. But that's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, right, so let's check out where we're up to at the moment. So I've got a lot of stuff on my other screens. There's obviously some as in previous streams, there was some proprietary stuff that we don't want to show on the stream at this point. So code and things will all be like on the other screens. All you're going to see is this gameplay screen. And just a caveat, we are in like alpha. Nothing you see is final necessarily. I would say none of it is final, even though it kind of looks kind of finished in some way. You know, some art looks kind of finished. Not all of this is subject to change. We've gone through numerous iterations already, and I think that, you know, I've highlighted it before, that that's one of the problems with game developers or game projects who don't come from a game developing background, is they're moving to final art way too quickly, and the chances are they're going to have to redo all of that artwork towards the end. But such is the NFT space. We all want things that are very visual and presentable. With Knitties, we're quite lucky in that I tend to work procedurally for a lot of the workflow, so we're able to output higher resolution things occasionally, but most of the art will probably have to change at some point. Knitties have been remodeled 4 or 5 times at this point, and they'll probably go through a final iteration in the future as well. Okay, so let's see where we're up to. And obviously if anyone has any questions, then we will check those out. Hang on, I've got my debug on. Let me just turn all this off. Okay, we shouldn't have debug on the screen anymore. Cool. So this is where we're at. We've just got this. This is just a testing area. It was designed specifically to test out lighting, as well as being an alpha area for us to spawn into and people to run about in. There's enough room to run about, and there's a few things to jump around on in a way that allows us to fairly objectively test various aspects of the Knitty mechanics, and yeah, there's plenty of space on here just to interact with things and all that kind of stuff. And eventually what we'll do is we will move off of the crafting table and go from there, basically. So this is where we're up to. I've been gradually adding in assets. I'm playing around with some animation issues at the moment. One of them you'll see occasionally. It is the character snaps back a little bit when moving, but all of these animations are going to be redone. So music volume is quite high apparently. So let's tone that down. Okay, sorry, it's too loud. Let's pull that all the way back. Hopefully that's a bit better. Yeah. Yeah, just let me know if that's okay. I think there's a bit of a delay on the stream, so right, okay. Got all these windows, people saying that they can't hear me. That's the problem with like that. There's a slight lag, so I think there's like 30 seconds between what I'm doing and what you see. So yeah. Now repeat everything I said. Okay. Right. So this area is just for testing, and although there is going to be an area like this in the game, like as the starting area, yeah, because this is like where Knitties are created, and it's meant to be like yeah, just a desk, a place where we tend to get creative in the real world, you know. I can turn the music up a bit if needs be. Just let me know. I'm not going to do it right now because it's going to take you 30 seconds to tell me if it's okay. But yeah, so it's like a crafting desk, and there's going to be lots of like sewing paraphernalia and all that kind of stuff on there. There's an issue with the animation at the moment that I'm trying to resolve, and that is some snapping back of the character after certain animations. Okay, so we're just I'm just tweaking those out, but then everything is going to be tweaked anyway. Like all the animations are going to be redone, properly animated. This is just motion capture data at the moment, which is fine. You know, it looks okay, but actually we want the animations and movements to have much more Knitties personality to them. So they will all need to be hand animated, basically. But that's something for later. You remember what I was saying about committing to art too early, and animation is one of those things that it takes a long time, and you don't want to be having to do it 2 or 3 times, ideally. So you want to be doing it right towards the end, if possible, because it's one of the most labour-intensive aspects of working for games. So yeah, this is where we're at. My priority at the moment is not sorting out those niggly bits that I know we have to revisit later anyway. My priority at the moment is testing out all the art assets, making sure our systems and my assumptions are all correct, that everything will work correctly. And also what I'm doing is I'm keeping an eye on this statistics window. I did put the music up a little bit, by the way. So if it can go up again, then just let me know. So these stats over here are really, really important, especially because we're targeting WebGL delivery for this. We do need to keep an eye on these stats. The WebGL works great at 5K, like I can test it at 5K on my screens, but the reality is most devices are going to be running at 1080p, so that's what we need to target. And yeah, so we can hit as many people as possible, obviously. It will upscale to an extent as well. But we need to be keeping an eye on some of these numbers, like batches, 379 at the moment. We've got frames per second up there, but that's that frames per second is not always a good measure, so we take everything that we see in frames per second with a pinch of salt, because I've got a ton of other applications running in the background. So what we actually need to be doing is looking at batches and looking at triangle count and looking at this number here called set pass calls. And then we've got other areas here that we can optimize as well. So if there are too many shadow casters, then we can optimize by reducing how many there are. Okay, and at the moment we hit random and it's going to pick random items from each of the asset categories. So a random yarn color, a random hat, a random hoodie, a random color of shorts. We haven't got any other legs in at the moment, which is something that I need to do. And we've got random high tops as well. So there's obviously quite a few other categories to go in. We've got a back category that needs to go in, so ruck backpacks and all that kind of stuff. We've got expressions to go in there, and you won't be able to click on random and get a totally random Knitty. You'll be starting from an S1 or nothing. Like if you don't have an S1, then you'll be starting from nothing, which means you will have like a basic set of default Knitties to kind of pick from as your starting Knitty. And then you'll be able to hit random. It's going to pick all the other stuff that you've got in your wallet, S2s and all that kind of stuff, and populate a Knitty for you. But obviously you can eventually you'll be able to choose what you want to go where as well based on what you own. So if you like, the S1s are like the starting character, and if you don't have an S1, then you will be able to pick like between 3 and 5 different starting options. Like this, for example, like this grey Knitty, that's one of the starting options. With the extras, so the extras from the original S1s, yes. So they will be, let's see, so they're not necessarily going to be like visible all the time. So, and I'm still working on the system of like how they will be integrated in the game, but one thing that I've been playing around with is if you have double Bs, like if you have both of the Bs, then when you jump you'll be able to like glide down so you can jump for further, which I thought was quite an interesting, like the Bs are kind of holding you up sort of thing. So just playing around with those sorts of ideas and seeing where they take us. We still got quite a long time like on our development timeline to sort of figure all this stuff out, and it's nice to get community input on the kind of stuff that they would like those extras to do ultimately. Yeah, so this is kind of where we're up to, and it's not perfect. Like there are definite issues, but they're not really issues that I need to fix right now. The main things right now for me to actually, the animation is annoying me, but just that little snapback after a run. I wonder if I can just quickly fix that. I wonder if there's a tick box somewhere that allows me to fix that. Let's have a look. Let's access the import settings. Again, this is all off screen because like a lot of it, I mean this isn't important what I'm doing now, but a lot of stuff is kind of proprietary. You don't really want people to be seeing it necessarily. Ooh, so it's not that. Let's test this. This might make it worse. Some of the animation issues are more obvious if you use the keyboard, because keyboard is not analog, so it just goes immediately to full pelt run. Yeah, you can see that like it's what's happening is the run animation, the character's projecting forward, like leaning forward, and then in the idle animation they're stood upright, and then there's not much of a blend between them, right? So what's happening is it looks like it snaps back, and that is exacerbated by the camera movement, which doesn't directly follow. I need to remember that I'm looking up here. Doesn't directly follow. There's like there's a little bit of lag as it catches up to you, deliberately, right? Which makes the snapback of the character to the idle position and the camera still moving. You know, it's like two things coming together, right? So it creates this kind of snap. It's not actually an error, it's a problem with the position of the two things coming together. Yeah, so on the keyboard there's no acceleration with the movement, right? It's either on or off. So what I'll probably have to do with the keyboard is add a modifier. So you hold down shift to walk or something, or shift to run. But obviously on the analog stick it's going to cycle through 4 different animations, because you've got the idle, you've got the slow walk, you've got a jog, and this is blending between all of those dynamically, right? And then you've got a full pelt run. So you can do all of that with the analog controller, which is quite nice. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. You can do it. You can do it all with the analog. I'll show you the emote wheel and what's cool about that in a minute. But yeah, that snap is still there a bit. So let me just go back in here, and I'm going to attempt to put this right as well as I can. But again, once I'm able to like spend some time at doing some actual like custom proprietary animations, we'll be able to avoid all these issues essentially. Yeah. Anyway, I love these. Like every time I load up a new Knitty, I'm just like, oh, that combo looks so good. Like I don't know how many possible combos we can have right now. Let me just do a quick calculation based on what we've got in the live sort of version of the game at the moment. There's 7 yarns. How many hats are there? Let's have a quick look. Just find all this sort of stuff interesting, because yeah, this was kind of when we're coming up with these 10,000 NFT collections. This is one of the things we do, is we calculate like how many different combinations we're up to, right? And in the sort of early days, as well as like up until quite recently, people were saying, oh, you know, there's potentially 400 million different combinations, that sort of thing, you know, and we're only selling 10k, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, how many have we got? 1, 2, 3. Actually, I've already got these lists. I don't need to count up. So we've got 25 different hats so far. We've just got 9 hoodies. Hoodies, what I'm going to be working on today. Like getting some more of those over. And we've got 4 different short designs. And we've got 7 different yarns. So that is, let's load up my calculator. It is 7 times by 25 times by 9 times by 4 times by 7. So that's how many different possible combinations we have right now, just based on what's currently in the game. So it's pretty crazy. And I've got to like get all these things in. Yeah, and obviously things have had a redesign, right? Like this beanie is not the original beanie. Yeah, this has been redesigned to match our IRL beanies, of course. Here's the one that I've been wearing to work. Holding up fairly well. Getting some tests in. Hopefully Scarlett has been testing hers out as well. Usual beanie wear. I mean, this has been getting worn every day for like 2 months or so. It's got caught on some Velcro on my jacket, but otherwise it's holding up very well. So I think that we will be doing these at some point. And let's just hit random a few times and see if I can get a green beanie. So this is like the wrong colour green at the moment. This green on the Knitty is meant to be like the forest colour, and I quite like it as it is at the moment, so I might do that. And this is a bottle green, and I'll probably order some tests in like a Kelly green, just to get one that's closer to that. I can do a forest green or an olive drab, but I found that they're a bit too. Both of those samples that I've received are a bit too close to khaki. They're too close to khaki. So I think Kelly green will be the best. The green on the Knitty Scarlet, or the green on the hat. Bottle green. Yeah, I love the green one. Traits loaded as the whole Knitty. Right, so S1s, you can only load in the whole Knitty. Now, you can't move things between S1 Knitties. The reason for that is that each S1 Knitty is unique, right? But if we said, right, you've got 3 Knitties, one of them's got I'm trying to think of the super matchy. It's 1, 2, 3, isn't it? Super matchy 1, 2, 3. Right, so you've got 1, 2, 3. Got a delivery van outside my house. We'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3 yarn. You've got another one with a outrun hat, and then you've got another one with outrun hoodie. Yeah, he's coming up to the house. Just give me a second. That is the Callisto protocol getting delivered, for those of you who are interested. I won't find time to play it. I don't know why I bought it. I can't wait to play it, but I'm never going to be able to play it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Scarlett's on Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, is there an invite link we can put in the YouTube chat maybe? Let me see. Just so anyone who's not in there. Let's see. I'm no good at this sort of stuff. Toto normally does this stuff, but I don't think he's logged in. He's here, but he's not logged in. How do I get the invite link? Oh, there we go. It's just because we've got like, yeah, it's a custom link, isn't it? So there we go. That will get you access if you're not in the Discord already. Where were we at? Scarlett likes the bottle green. I prefer the Kelly green myself, but we'll see. Anyway, yeah, and these beanies have been redesigned just to match the real life stuff, and that's something that we're going to be doing a bit more of with the S1s, because like the way that Knitties work, like we're not dependent on the media within the NFTs, right? All of our NFTs are machine readable, like the S1s are machine readable, so that means they can be recreated just from the metadata. And many NFTs work like this, increasingly, or I shouldn't say increasingly, but quite a lot of the metaverse avatar ones don't seem to work like this. Like they're dependent on the GLTF data that's in the NFT for some reason. That will probably change in the future. But with Knitties, we're not dependent on that, which means that we're able to iterate on the art all the time, which is pretty cool. So that means we can change the art, and your NFT stays the same, but we can change the in-game art that's based on that. So we can change hats and all this kind of stuff, and hoodie resolutions and all this kind of thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like this music. I'm not so sure about it, but in terms of like an actual final Knitty thing, how cool is that one? Udon hoodie, and that is a Jolly Roger hat. Hey, I think we can do some more pirate hats actually. Let's get some pirate hats done. Okay, so whilst I'm working on this, I'm going to be working on the other screen, but you'll see some stuff pop up over here inevitably. But whilst I'm working on this, feel free to drop any questions in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. Forest green has a tad too much yellow. I wonder if that's a screen thing. I have to do some like tests on other people's monitors. That's something that we hadn't checked actually when we did the Knittimals, if you recall. So on our screens, they just looked pretty awesome, but then other people were saying that the colours were a bit off and stuff. So calico pirate hat. Okay, let's see if we can do some pirate hats. Let me find the pirate hat assets. Okay, let's duplicate this. We'll call this calico. Open this up, and again, this is on my other screen, so you can't. It's just really boring for you whilst I'm working on this. I suppose I can load it up over here temporarily, I suppose. It gives me an extra few steps to do, but so that you can see it, I suppose it's worth it. I'm just going to work on it on the other screen, and you'll be able to see the results here, basically, on the notice board. Right, where am I? There we go. So I also need to show you the emote wheel, which I think is really cool because the way I'm doing it, I haven't seen people do it before. When knitted whale, we were going to do a whale knittimal, that was actually the first one that Adam and I discussed, was knittimal whale, and just because you always see crochet whales, and obviously like one of the things about Knitties is we want them to be as close to being makeable as possible in as many like the core form of the things is makeable, and the materials and the things in the Knitties world are things that can exist in the real world, and everything's made up of something, and this environment that you're seeing here is very much like one that you might see in someone's bedroom perhaps, but as you go into the story world of Knitty Nook, which is as we transition from the real world into the world of the imagination of you essentially, or the people who build Knitty worlds or whatever, we're going to start seeing the crafting materials that are currently on the desks and around the world, and around the sort of real world environment in the Knitty world. You'll see those materials being used to create the actual Knitty world elements. So for example, like in these drawers over here, you might see like coloured card and corrugated card, lots of different sort of paper type materials, and then you start seeing those materials getting replicated later on as you move through the world, which I think is really nice. You know, because like when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Lego, and I guess a lot of people were. I had lots of different things that I was into, like He-Man. Collected He-Man. That's all being re-released at the moment, as all the people my age who couldn't afford the fancy stuff as our kids want to buy it for their kids, right? So those toys are all being re-released at the moment. That happens all the time. Parental nostalgia, you know. But yeah, like I had like He-Man, I had Technic Lego, I had Meccano, numerous other things as well, Thundercats, and that this is very much about those sort of those play spaces of the imagination. That's really what Nitty Nook is all about. Is escapism, you know. Lovecraft. So Potato was talking about Lovecraft, wasn't he? Could be used to help you swim, or maybe if you've got a Lovecraft, maybe you get a stepping stone, or a Lovecraft shaped stepping stone in the middle of a waterway or something. Yeah, we will choose what our children enjoy. Okay, right. Let's do Calico. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. Okay, and this hopefully should just transfer easy enough. There we go. So that's our Calico hat. And now what I need to do, so you can see it works fine in the game environment. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to access my asset manager, custom tooling. All of this is custom tooling. I'm going to add in my Calico hat. This is, tell it where it needs to locate it. It is of type hat, and I do need to do a bit of cleanup to my file management situation here at some point. I'm not going to be doing that now because that's really boring for everyone. Okay, so hopefully now the thing is that at the moment, like normally what I've got is I've got a set of drop down menus where you can just pick which yarn you want and all this kind of stuff. But I need to set the drop down menu up so that I can pick what thing to spawn, because basically I'm just clicking random until it gives me the Calico hat so that I can test it. Actually, I can structure it a bit better than this. The hats only work if they're verified on the list, so I can unverify all the other hats potentially. Come on, Calico. Oh, it came up just then. That's really annoying. Yeah, I need to sort out this drop-down menu system, don't I, to address this. But I don't want to be coding on stream, because last time I think it was really boring when I was doing that. Come on. That's Roger. That's Calico. There we go, look. That nice shiny gold sticker. This is where we definitely need the camera to get up close to the Knitty, right, so you can see a bit more detail, because there's quite a bit on the head scarf that's being missed at this size. So we definitely need to try and get that in there. How cool are these combos though? Yeah, you've got like the original, so you've got the Andrew variant Converse, right? You've got the leopard print hoodie, that is from, is that the Rare? I think that's the Rare Maxi, isn't it? And then we've got the Calico hat from the Meepa collab on Sparrow, which is pretty awesome. Like, I was really pleased last night when we were getting those different combos up of like various collab artists. I thought they were brilliant. Most of those artists had never worked together before, and yet in the Knitties world, their work is together on the screen at the same time. Created by you, the Knitty owner. In effect, you're almost like a collaborative curator, I suppose, and you're deciding what goes where. But the interesting thing about the S2s, those early S2s, for those of you who are into the Knitties project, is there's so few of them, and as the community grows, like there's only ever going to be 75 Aeon hoodies, right? One of the most popular projects on Cardano. And those things, they could be really prestigious, potentially. Scott's asking, considering how much work you put into this, what is the sentiment of charging extra for the game, like a subscription? Yeah, we're talking about things. It certainly helps with sustainability. We need to figure out the more sustainable aspects of the business model for sure. We can do the odd mint and stuff, but we do need to think about sustainability. I think subscription. What we've been talking about is a potential Knitty fan subscription, where you might get a few physical items, that sort of thing. We've been talking a little bit about that, but again, we are having these kind of conversations. In terms of subscribing to the game, I don't think we'd be doing that. I think that what we might do is in future NFT drops, we might have like, obviously the NFTs act like a subscription because they're an access point, but we'll probably be increasing royalties on future, or adding royalties to future mints, I expect, but we'll see. There's no sort of definite on that. Right, let's do a hoodie. Right, so which hoodies, are there any requests for hoodies? If you've got a request for a hoodie, then drop it in the drop it in one of the chats. I've got them both open. I will just go through the textures of what I have got available. I've got every S2 hoodie here potentially. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I've got 10 here, so I might be short a couple. So what I'll do is I'll just get started on one, and then if there's a request, then people can. Well, we've already got a red hoodie. We've already got one. No, I've got one as well. You've already got a lava hoodie. Yeah. So the really sort of detailed assets like Sparrow Jacket, that all needs rigging and retopology and all that kind of stuff. So those assets will need a lot of work before we get those in. Like they will be something for later on. Right, so let's just crack on with some hoodies, shall we? So I'm going to call this one's going to be Ada Racers, which is of course Beyond Rockets now, isn't it? So what I'm doing here is, and you can't see it, I basically duplicated one of the hoodies. And I'm going to drop it in the scene so that you can see what I'm doing. Again. There we go. We're going to drop it somewhere where you can see it a bit more clearly. So, yeah, normally this would take me so much less time, but because I'm like you're only seeing what's on one screen. I just need to make sure that you can see what I'm up to. So let's see, we've got 8 erasers on here. Let me add that to it. And now in theory what I should be able to do is grab my 8 erasers textures and drop those on like this. Okay, just going to take a quick close-up on my screen and have a look at what's going on. It all looks good from here. Ooh, what's that? Nothing. Good. Okay. So let's get that added to the asset pool. So it's really cool, like every time you add one more thing, you're getting like a ton of extra variation. Like you start getting exponential. Would it be exponential? It almost is exponential, like multiplication. It's not actually exponential, is it? But it's you start getting more bang for your buck every new thing that you add. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so I'm just going to add this to my asset list. And this is 8 erasers. There we go, and it's done. It's there. So let me do a couple more hoodies. I'm going to do them as quickly as I can off screen. 0 heart marks. Let's do some. Yeah, we can do the. I think it's in there. It might not be that. I might not have done that one yet. I might not have done the Sweet Fellas one yet. I might not have a texture for it, is what I mean. I'm just looking for it. No, I don't have that one, but I do have the I do have Mark 3. I would have liked to have got the Sweet Fellas one on there. I got 0 heart. Oh, the 0 ones. I don't have. Goodness, I thought I had loads in here, but I don't. I really don't, do I? I got Nebula, Astro Nebula. I've got all the Astro ones, I think. It's asking me for all of the really difficult. They're only difficult because I don't have them in yet. I've got like yeah, the Aeon one's in there. Aeon one is in there. I think there's some pictures of that actually. In fact, I'll use that as my starting point for this next one. So what will I do now? I'll do Nebula. Okay, this isn't Nebula, but this is the Aeon one that I'm using as the starting point for Nebula. Just so you can see that one. There you go. So every time I create one of these, I've got to create a copy of the original, and I've got to create a new material for it, and then assign the correct textures to that new material. And there's only one real texture for each variant hoodie. Only in special cases is there more than one. So once I've got all of the bits sort of ready, it's fairly straightforward to get it done. There's so much detail that you miss out at this range, so we definitely need to have a camera where we can get closer. There were some people in the Aeon server talking about the hoodies. I think it was like a week or two ago when they were like, I wouldn't wear that out in public. I'm not going to wear that. I think Mel was there going, I'll wear it. I'll wear it. And someone, you know, someone who's a Knitty fan as well was like, yeah, I'll wear it. It is quite a bold look, isn't it? like so. And let's just get the Mark III done. I'll do the Mark III off screen so that it just doesn't take me ages. So I should leave that music running, shouldn't I? So it doesn't go really awkward and quiet. Okay, so Mark III, where are you? There you are. That's the Mark III one, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Mark III one. Okay, so let's get these into the engine, or into the, they're already in the engine, but get them added to the list of hoodies. Should be quite quick. I think I just added 3 more, didn't I? So let's go with, so this first one is going to be the nebula. And this next one's going to be the MK3. And I think that's actually it, isn't it? So I didn't add 3 total. So let's have a quick look at what these look like. So it's picked up our aid erasers right away. So some of the lighting in this environment is a bit bright. Can we go into shading? There we go. Let's see, you can see it away from some of that light there. It's the bit where like the hoodie you want is never going to load up. Oh, there we go. There's Nebula. It's kind of cool. And there's MK3. Like they all loaded up. Oh, look! We've got the helmet as well. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that's the MK3 hoodie, isn't it? It's crazy how it loaded, like with all the possible combinations, and it hits them. Mind, to be fair, the likelihood of those 2 things being on is far, far less. Just they look so cool, like these combos, you know. And you know, people saying like it's great now that it's all coming together, and yeah, we've got such a long way to go. But yeah, when you get to this point and all that hard work and all your tooling, and you're just like, wow, it all works really well. Not perfect, because there's always room for improvement, but these looks, all these combos, all the different possibilities, it's really exciting to see it all come together. Even just like basic combos look really cool. Some of them do need brightening up, so I noticed some of the latest hats are quite dark. So this one works okay. This one's fine, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe it needs a bit of brightening up. But the tie helmet is like a bit dark. And so yeah, a few things need like brightening up. Potato really like the HUD display here, and yeah, it looks so much better in the engine than it actually does on the NFT, doesn't it? It looks so much better. But that's because I've spent so much time just working, getting the lighting correct and getting the material set up right, and yeah, in the engine. And then yeah, I'm more familiar with doing engine-based work. Yeah, so grey is going to be one of the defaults. We do, as a community, need to pick some default things for people to have, and that I think that should be up to the community to decide those things. In fact, what we could do is we could kind of throw another yarn into the equation this afternoon. Actually, they're really, really quick to do because of the way that I built out the material. So we could do a new yarn color. So I'm trying to get to the. So there's default grey there. Yes, a default grey. Then there's the teddy colour, which is, if you recall, what Felix. I think Felix was the first one to use the teddy colour. So that's the Felix colour. That's like a light brown. There we go. There's the teddy colour. It's like a biscuit colour. Right. So that'll be a default option. So I've got really itchy nose at the moment. So keep having to. Right, and yeah, there's room for some other ones. So let's add a new yarn. So I've got avocado, cinnamon, sunny side up, 1, 2, 3, minty fresh, teddy, grey. We do need the red yarn, right? There's only one red yarn, but I think that we can have a reddish type yarn as a default. But definitely, what I do need to do is create a reddish yarn. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a 3D object, a sphere. That's a bit big. Let's make it roughly Knitty head size. Actually, I think that's still a bit big, but we'll go with it. Let's refocus our cameras on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this to do some materials, but to be able to do it objectively, I just need to make sure that you're able to focus on it reasonably well. Okay, that's a little bit high, isn't it? Let's just make it a bit bigger. So there we go. So it's like at the bottom of the screen. That's because the camera's got an offset on it, so that it follows like the top of the Knitty's head and not underneath it. And so wherever I move this, like this is basically gonna follow. Let's change the offset, but I need to remember to change it back. This is the sort of thing that you always forget to put right. Like once you've adjusted it, you always forget to put. You forget like what you did, where you changed it. I think so. Jacket's saying like one default color, but the problem is if we want wide adoption, then we need people's knitties to look as cool as they can. Like arguably, the default knitties that people play with should be the coolest looking knitties because they're the ones that people are gonna like, who can't buy into S1 or whatever, are going to be playing as, and they're the ones that you're going to see everywhere, right? Because ideally we'd have more than 10,000 or however many holders there are right now, like 3,000 holders playing the Knitties game, right? So when they're taking screenshots, if they're streaming it and that kind of stuff, we want those Knitties to look really, really cool. And then they can extend it by dipping into S1 and like building out a collection. But we do need those default ones to be really, really cool looking. So I think we need a decent range of options for for the defaults for sure. Okay, so let's add a material onto this. So I've got a yarns folder somewhere here, and I'm going to create a new material. Let's bring this over to here. There we go. So it's a bit distorted on this sphere because it's not like perfect, you know. The sphere is not a nitty head, you know, but you can kind of get the effect. Right, so this is 1, 2, 3 at the moment. We've also got the Frankenstein, the Frank green to do as well. So let's just, I can't remember what colour that's called. I can't remember what we called that one. I'm just going to call it Frank for now. And that's like a really bright green, isn't it? Sort of like that, I think. So I'll just leave that like that for now. So we've got a Frank colour, and then see how quick these are to do. So, you know, and this one we're gonna do. This one is 666. There can be only one. And I think I nailed it right away. That's pretty good. And again, all this stuff is really easy to change, so I can tweak this at any time. So what we'll do now is we'll add that into our pool of yarn. So this one is going to be 666, and that one's going to be Frank. Let's have a look. So the camera offset. You can see under my desk. There's no legs. It's like a news reporter on the TV. No legs. Right. So let's just grab this and add that offset back in. I think that was where we're at. Or maybe it was that. Let's have a look. Yeah, I'll never remember numbers. I'll have to look back at what the numbers are. I think we're good. Okay. Look at that red. Yeah, got it first time. Look at that. I think that's pretty much perfect. Yeah. Faha's gonna be pretty chuffed with that. I think it's only his knee will be red. So. See if we can get to one of the other ones. It's green. There we go. I think that's pretty much spot on as well. Look at that. That looks so cool. So yeah, I think we definitely need to have some a good range of bright, colourful defaults. But also we don't want to tread on what we've already got with the S1s, right? So we don't want to get anything that's too close to the S1s. Oh, that looks so good. But again, there's only like 5 that are going to be in this green. Man, I want one though. I want one in this green. Like, that would be so cool as a default colour, wouldn't it? But we can't be treading on those black labels. So if you want one that looks this, if you want a knitty that looks this cool, you're going to need to get one of those black labels. Okay. So let's try and figure out a different default colour that is hopefully not neutral, but also doesn't tread on the toes of anything. I guess we don't really have a blue. We got minty fresh, but that's sort of like turquoisey colour. But we don't have like a blue like the wallpaper, so maybe we could do a blue. I think one of the S2s was blue, but the yarns in the S2s are not transferable onto these, right? Well, they are, like we can do them, but that's not the intent of the S2s. So the S2s it's the accessories that transfer. So I think that we could do a blue. But yeah, any other inputs would be yeah, those bright colours are awesome, right? I really like them. So that for that reason, I think we need to have some default bright colours like red, green, blue, maybe, or maybe an orange. We don't really have an orange. We've got a sunny side up, but we don't have like an orange. So maybe that's where our reddish. I mean, the red looks so good though. I feel like we need a red, but we can't have that red. Maybe that red needs to be different, and this is the red for for default Knitties. I don't know, because that's the priority. Is the default Knitties, you know, like I did with the post a picture of what Dusty Rose is, Toasty. With the S2s, I spent more time doing the default ones than I did, you know, the most common ones than I did the rarest ones, because that more of the common ones were going to be available than the rare ones, and I wanted those to be really kind of have a lot more work put into them. So I did those ones first, and then I changed those up to do the rarer ones. So I worked in the most common ones first, so that everything looked really cool, and I switched it up, and hopefully all of them look awesome. But the most time was spent on the most common S2 Knitties, and I feel like the same philosophy needs to be in place for this, because we want mass adoption. We want people to invest in the project. People who are holding S1s want them to be able to buy their S1s. But the problem is if the default Knitty is just a bit boring and drab, then they might think, well, you know, everyone else's colours are so much brighter than mine, and you know, so I'm not that interested. So we need to have those options, I think. Anyway, let's drag this onto here. There we go. Okay, so let's have a look at some blues. I'm not sure whether you know, minty fresh is kind of here-ish, I guess. Actually, no, it's not. I've got it here. That's minty fresh. So that's like this greenish turquoise. So this is a little bit too close to that. So I think what I'm going to do, because you could conceivably have someone who's got a minty fresh knit saying like, well, how come everyone's able to use the colour that I've got? That's pretty cool there, look. That's a nice blue, and I feel like it's different enough. Like this is very clearly sort of different, right? So like up against each other, they look quite different, don't they? So I think that's acceptable. I think that's like a good blue. So we can add that one into the pool. Default Knitty colour blue. I wonder if, yeah, so let's do this pinky colour. So let's switch these up. Okay. So the one on the left is 666. There can be only one. And this one is, we're going to call it just red for now. I'm not a huge fan of the dusty rose colour. I think it's a little bit soft. I suppose it's sort of there, or maybe there. That could work. It could certainly be as a default colour, couldn't it? In terms of a red, though, I mean, it might be better if it was somewhere there. It's a bit more vibrant. And I feel, again, it's like it's distinct enough from this one. It would be so good if we could actually just have a red, though, right? We just can't do it with the 666 being out there. I suppose we could approach Farhad and say, would you mind if we just had red as a default colour? But then that kind of almost devalues what he's got, I suppose, in terms of the functionality of the game. Yeah, we have to sort of play around with this red a little bit. And of course we can also alter the 666 red as well. Like, you know, we can take that down a notch. Like so. And then this one, you sort of take up like that. Or maybe it's the other way round. Like 666 is just so much more vibrant. I don't know. Like those feel like they're distinctly different to me. Like they're distinct enough, but perhaps we could just tweak them a little bit further down. I feel like the one on the left would have to be the default one. But then the thing is, it's like only one person really sees it, right? So it's like, yeah, not too sure, really. But yeah, one of these would be quite cool as default red color. But yeah, let's get them added in, and we'll just see how they manifest. Six, 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 and then we've got blue. Like so. Those are the only ones that did, weren't they? See what I mean about this tie helmet? It's just a little bit dark, so I need to go in there and loosen up some of those colours a bit. Is that minty fresh or blue? That's minty fresh, isn't it? Okay, so I don't know if this is 666 or... I think that's 666. In which case I think... I've gone off it now, haven't I? I'll have a drop down menu for next time. I think that's red. I think it needs to be swapped around. I love that green. I love it. Again, do we do a bright green of some kind, you know? Yeah, that's it's almost a bit too bright actually for a default color. So I think this would be definitely better as 666. So I'm just going to change those over just so that I've... like so. So those are swapped over. Did we get to see the blue? I don't think we got to see the blue, did we? Damn, that green is so cool. Oh man, it looks awesome. There's the blue. I think that's pretty cool. It's default colour. And there's standard red. So actually, what I need to do is the defaults, I need to pull them back in terms of saturation. Because this red is slightly less saturated, right? Whereas that blue was a little bit too saturated, I think. In fact, we can do it live. There's blue. There we go. I think that's probably there or thereabouts. Shift it this way. I need to be bright enough. I think that's okay. Let's just hit random a couple of times. Yeah, Minty Fresh is quite bright in comparison to the blue. Or is it? We need to do an objective test of this, don't we? Oh, I've made them a bit too close, look. But again, we can adjust the Minty Fresh. We do want that bright, vibrant blue to an extent, though. Something like that. I think that's okay. Right, and a green. So at the moment we've got two greens, right? We've got avocado and we've got Frank. And it'd be nice to have another one just as a default color. So yeah, let's make that. And again, all of these can actually change. I feel like it maybe needs to be a bit closer to the green of my hat. Something like this. You've got like some distinct like differences there. You've got this one which is definitely like, you know, avocado, olive drab type thing. And this is really bright and saturated, this green. The Frank green. It can be even brighter if we wanted it to be. But you gotta, if you make it bright, you kind of lose that greeniness, as it were. Right in the middle of the green spectrum, there we go. Go into the color manager, and I think I just added the green, wasn't it? That's all I've added. It'd be nice. I think it'd be nice to have a orange as well, but yeah, we're getting quite a few colors here now, so let's run with that. So that is the default red. That's cinnamon, avocado, minty fresh, blue. Needs a bit more. I think it needs to be. It's a bit more. It needs to have more difference about it. Sunny side up, blue. Sunny side up. I think that's 666. Yeah, it is. Teddy. That's the new green. That works quite well, actually. That's Frank green. So again, these things we kind of need to just work on them and tweak them, but I guess the bright colours kind of look a little bit too bright in a way. Like not in keeping with the rest of them. I do like that red though, looks awesome. So yeah, need to like run through these things a few times and just see how we're getting on. But yeah, those are looking pretty cool. Right, so let's carry on and add a few more hoodies. And again, yeah, if anyone has any questions, then just drop them in the chat and I'll answer them. We don't have to be here all afternoon. You've got about 30 minutes left of what I was planning to do, so yeah, do some community votes. That'd be quite good. Basically, I think we definitely need like 5 default colours, 5 default things in each category for people to be able to choose from to customize their Knitty. Grey, Teddy, they're all standard things. Yeah, I think the default, like the S1 colours, need to be quite bright and vibrant as well, but they need to be distinctly different. Yeah, how we achieve that, I don't know. But we don't want to be treading on existing colours, essentially. But we need to have a broad range of colours for all the other people, because the vast majority of Knitties will not be S1 Knitties, right? Because the vast majority of players won't have one. So that's the intention. That's where we want to be. So we need to plan for that now. We need to be able to plan to. We need to plan to achieve that now. Because you know, if we're restricted only to the S1 people having coloured like yarns for their Knitties, then all the screenshots and stuff of Knitty Nook are going to be very plain and boring. So we need to try and avoid that, and we will avoid it. Okay, so I'm going to do. Let's do one of Jet's hoodies. Oh, we've already done a Jet hoodie actually, haven't we? But we'll do another one here. That's bright. I forgot how bright the Power hoodie is. It's so bright. Oh, have we done any monos yet? We should definitely do a mono. There we go. That's not it just yet. I just need to add the texture. So you can see, like, quite quickly going through today, I've already added like what 7 or 8 new assets, which, you know, I don't know what the I think at the beginning of the stream we said it was like 44,000, 44k possibilities. Before we wrap up the stream, we'll see where we've got to with the different customizations that we've added in today. Okay, that's looking pretty sweet. Let's see if I can get another one in before we switch back up. Which one shall we do? We did Geo. I've always liked the Geo one. So let's do Geo. And just pull this on. Again, I should have that music on. Let's just have it running all the time. Problem is, if you have it running all the time, then the game's playing, and modifications I make in the editor are not saved whilst the game is playing. So we could do some blue label entry points for. Yeah, I mean we could do blue labels with specific yarns, and they could be the starting point for people's knitties, and then they can have different customization packs, maybe. So like we could, you'd have a collab artist do like a yarn color or something, along with a setup, or a fit, as it were. Okay, so let's go into the manager, and we're going to add some more items to our clothing assets. And so we've got this one. I guess we'll, I'm not going to say which ones I've done. You can just see them as they load up. Let's see. Where was the final one? Oh, I said I was doing Geos, didn't I? Geo. There we go. Let's have a look at what these turn out like. So there we go, skull mono. Pout. Forgot how bright that one was. It's so bright. And Geo. Because I've got auto switching set up on the input controls, if I touch the mouse whilst I'm playing, it will interrupt the controller. So you can see that happening right now. That's why it sometimes jerks around a little bit. One of the cool things about the emote system that I've written is we can blend between different animations. So rather than just playing one single animation, let's get to one that's, I don't know, like they're all looking pretty cool at the moment, but let's get to one that's like pretty awesome looking. That's pretty cool. Oh, there we go. That's a nice one. I like the soft, gentle looking ones, you know. Right. So let's have a look at this wheel. So at the moment, this is currently the wheel, and obviously normally you would have a UI pop up for the wheel. Morning, Joe. So you'd normally, you know, when I hold this, you'd get like a wheel pop up on the UI. And if I go, like if I do it up here, I can't remember whether it's, yeah, so up is wave. And it plays a wave animation. Now the wave animation ends up with the hand down at the bottom, basically. So you kind of see a loop there. Ideally what would happen is we just have that. And again, when I do the animations, rather than using mocap, we'll be able to do that. Now you can see, like, if I go to the right, I get this dance, which again, it's mocap, so the hands go through the head and all this kind of stuff, because Knitties are not people, they have different proportions. Okay, so you start getting that animation. So look what happens, like, if I'm waving, and I start moving the button towards, like, round, if I move the stick round towards dance, it's going to blend between the two emotes. I've not seen anyone do that before. I've not seen any game do that before. I reckon that's really cool. So as I go down, it's going to start blending between dancing and victory. Looks like a Dark Souls one, that. And this one's a bit weird. I just got it in there because it's distinctly different. It really doesn't work with the Knitties character, but it's like shrug. Okay. And obviously I can start spinning this down so it blends between shrug and victory. Or shrug and wave. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a neat system. And so obviously we need to come up with some interesting emotes. But and these are just using collab mocap things, right? Mocap files at the moment, so they're not suited to Knitty at all. But you get a pretty nice idea of how we can blend between them. And there's only 4 here, and we can also, if we really wanted to, is we could have user emotes. Like you could like potentially have emotes associated with specific NFTs. So you only get them, obviously, if you have that NFT in your wallet, which would be quite interesting to do. But right now we need to, like with all of our stuff, we need to, the core system for emotes just needs to be really cool, so people can do some really nice animations. So much more variety now. You're starting to see so many more things popping in. Hey! Lava Matchy. With green shorts and green yarn. It's cool. Need to get some footstep noises in there, don't we? Yeah, so you can customize, like on Dark Souls, you can choose which emotes you want on the wheel. So we could definitely try and get something like it. I mean, it's not on the big list. It's not on the main list of things to do. But the emote wheel wasn't even going to be on there. I think I think Meh asked for that one. That was community request. So I just built that out yesterday or the day before. I can't remember. And functionally, it's there. Like the core is in there now. It will need refining as we go through the development process, and obviously the animations, it would help if the animations were a bit better, you know. But I'll tell you what you can do, if you wanted to, is any of you can do this. if you go to, I'm just loading up a website here. Now, my mocap stuff is not from this website. I've got my own libraries, but Mixamo is an Adobe product and it's free. Like, you can sign into it and you can browse like animations and stuff, right? And this is where pretty much all the other metaverse projects, all the metaverse projects, not the other metaverse projects. Knitties is not a metaverse, but this is where all the metaverse projects are getting their animations from, right? So I'll just copy this in. I think actually Clay were encouraging people to do their rigging on here as well. Like, they gave you the mesh and then they said you could go on here to rig it, something like that. So there's Mixamo. So you can do rigging on here as well. It's no good, but you can certainly try and do rigging on here. But in terms of animations, like, you can type in like anything you want and search here. There's quite a lot of different animations you can pick. And if you find something that you like, then just let us know in the chat. You can post a link to it, see what other people think about it, and then we could drop it in as an emote. So all this stuff is usable in commercial games if you wanted to. Yeah, most of it's combat. I mean, it kind of makes you realise like how most of our games are sort of like in this fighting, combat resolution, problem resolution through violence sort of genre, which is kind of sad, really. But anyway, if any of you find anything on there and you like to see it on the emote wheel, then give us a shout and we'll, or I will stick it in there. I wonder what the chances are of getting a fully red Knitty like that. Would that be possible? Like, I suppose if you no, I don't think it would be possible. Like, I don't think that's even possible unless you had like a default red and then there was some red things like red S2 stuff. That'd be interesting. Yeah, you probably could do it. Like, yeah, possibly. Yes, we definitely need to think on these yarn colours a little bit. I do like this default blue though. But then it is like, yeah, there's already 2,000 minty fresh ones out there, so yeah, we just need to think on it a little bit. I do like having that default blue. It looks really good. Okay, let's add a couple more hoodies and then we're going to wrap it up in a couple of minutes time. So I'm just going to add 1 or 2 more hoodies to the setup. I don't know which ones I still need to add. So we've got skull, which we can add. And then we'll add up like what our combos were. So we were at 44,000 at the start of the stream, like 44,000 potential different mixes. And we'll do some more. We'll do another calculation in a minute. Okay, skull. Okay, so we've got skull in there. What other ones are on this list? We've got hex. And I think that's the only other sort of special one, as it were, that I've actually got sorted and available at this point. So we'll just do hex. I don't know what this one is. What's SuperKnit? Oh yeah, I started doing a SuperKnit one. So we do need to do a SuperKnit one at some point. Actually, is SuperKnit, yeah, I think I've got the SuperKnit one already sorted. Right. Go back. Get one more in there. And this was it Swirl it's called. I'll just call it Swirl for now. No, hex. Just dragging these textures in now. Okay, cool. Okay, so this needs to get these added into the asset list. Again, this is on another screen for those of you who sort of joined a little bit later. So we've got skull, and we've got hex. There we go. Right. Let's see where we're at, and we'll start adding this stuff up. So there's our hex hoodie. And there's our skull hoodie. So these are from Jet, the original S2. So pretty cool. There's so much variety here, and we're not even like halfway through. Not even. There's so much to add. There's so many things to add, and obviously this is just going to expand out once we get through this alpha, this next alpha. We'll add a few more drops, and this will blow up, I think, in terms of how much customization you can do. Right, so let's add them up. I'm not going to count all the new yarns because I'm not sure where we're going to go with that. I mean, ultimately there will be additional yarns, so let's just say we add 3 like generic yarns, which will take us to 10 total yarns. So that's 10. Hats, 26 I've got now. We've got same number of legs, same number of shoes. We've got 17 hoodies now. So we've added 8 today. So let's have a quick calculation of that. And again, we've not got much longer, so if you've got anything you want to ask, then drop it in the chat. So let's have a quick look. We've got 10 yarns times by 26 hats times by 17 hoodies times by 4 shorts times by, I can't remember what the other thing was. I've lost. Oh, it's shoes. So we got 7. So that's 123,760 different combinations, just based on what we've got like at the moment. So 123,000. That's crazy, isn't it? 760 combos. And of course, like, how many different hoods are there? Like, ignore the S1 ones, I suppose, but S2, there are 4 variants of each. There are 10 plus in tops, you know, these torsos, not necessarily hoodies. These are actual torsos. So 10 plus you've got, well, so it's 10 times 4, so that's 40, plus you've got 3 airdrops, that's 43 total torsos. And for hats, it's the same, right? That's not including S1s. Legs, it's the same. Unless they've, yeah, so not all of them will have legs, right? The S2s, like not all the S2s will have leg options. So leg options are only from the last 5. So that's 5 times by 4, that's 20, plus the airdrops. So 23. You see where I'm going with this. There's back accessories. Yeah, we've got a whole other multiplier in the back accessories. So where does that leave us? Like if we were actually doing it based on that, not including any S1 like additions to those, to hats and hoodies and legs, we get 43 times by 43 times by 23 times by 10 yarns times by, currently we've got 7 sets of shoes, but you know there's more. There's the pirate shoes, there's the chief shoes, so let's just quickly add those in. Those are the ones we've got so far. So that's going to be, there's 7 already, including the 2 defaults that we've got so far. Then there's going to be chief shoes, that's 4. Then there's going to be sparrow shoes, that's 15. Then you've got yeah, let's just leave it with that. So times by that's 15, right? That's how many there are once we've got the S2 stuff in for hats and hoodies and shoes and legs. Did I count legs in here? I didn't even count legs in this. Multiply that by like how, 4 maxi but legs, 4 plus, goodness me. And then you got back pieces, right? It's gonna get nuts, absolutely nuts. But it's really exciting because seeing them all come up here and seeing people like respond to them, it's just really awesome. Just seeing people go, oh my god, we're gonna be able to do that. That's the one I want. That's the hat that I want. So what we definitely need to do, like moving forward, is we need to be doing some drops that are a bit more open, like less limited. Now moving forward, so that more people can get their hands on the things that they want, right? For their Knitty avatar. Okay, cool. I think that's going to bring it to a close. I don't think there's any outstanding questions. Yeah, like 80,000 combos on the stream. Hey, do you want to see something really cool? Let me just I say it's really cool, but let's just I'm going to add something to my code real quick. I guess if you've I don't know what this is going to look like, but if you've got sensitivity to flashing, it might be a good time to look away from the screen or hide it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to write a bit of code that randomizes the Knitty every frame. So yeah, look away from the screen now. Oh, there's all those, there's like facial accessories as well. There's all the expressions as well, right? We've got all these different things like that we still need to get in here. It's going to be madness. Right, are we going to be, so we're at like nearly 7 million, weren't we? Let's just call it 7 million, because I'll only have to like do a couple more things to get 7 million, right? So let me just have a quick think. Goodness me, expressions, like how many expressions are there? I don't, like with all the S1 stuff, we might be hitting 1 billion different things, different combos, you never know. Right, let's hit play. So look away from the screen now if you've got sensitivity to flashing stuff, because I think this is going to go mad. Yeah. Maybe I should do it, it's like on a timer. Hey, how good is this skinning system that I've built out? Like, there's the occasional frame drop. You can see it if I run fast, I think. Man, that's, yeah, there was one there, look. Drops a couple of frames every now and then. This is running at, yeah, occasionally it drops from 75 to 45 frames, it looks like. You can notice it when it happens. It's madness. I love that, like, I've got all this working, like, this can just happen whilst you're running around, you know? Yes. So good. Right, okay. Let's stop that. So, yeah, thanks for coming up this afternoon. We got quite a bit done, actually. I think next week, I don't know what my development goal is for next week. I'm hoping to get the back stuff in, like the bags. Then there's going to be a bit of work, which is a little bit like we're treading water for a bit, and that'll be around skinning and all this kind of stuff. But essentially, I think once we're already at the point where we've got the wallet integration working. So what I need to also do is handle the internal data structures. We've figured out how we're going to do that, so I need to now actually implement that with code. And that is basically identifying which S1 Knitties you have, which is easy, and then allowing you to instantiate from that, basically. So spawn. Use the gamer term is spawn. So we need to spawn from that. That's actually a system that we've developed already. We've already developed that with Knittimals and previous iterations of this, but it will need cleaning up. I want it to be cleaned up. I want it to get it in super clean and use our new data structure as well as the new wallet connector. So I'm hoping to be able to get to that point next week so that we can put something up where people can just, from a drop down menu, select their S1 Knitty and it loads it up. And they can run around, basically, and that will be the base. That will be the next alpha. We'll be getting feedback around what doesn't work well, what does work well, around colors as well. Like, do the colors feel right to you? How did they look on your screen? Because obviously there's different screen gammas and all that kind of stuff. So we need to get a bit of feedback on that as well as did it work on your computer? You know, this is WebGL, and people's computers will be different specifications, right? So were you able to get it to work? Do we need to introduce more settings options, you know? Okay, so that's where we're kind of up to with things, and it's progressing fairly quickly, but obviously there's still quite a bit of work to do. But this environment, like, we could put this out online now and you could run around with that and it would run fine, you know. So we just got a few tweaks to make before we'll drop next alpha, but it should be upcoming. Hopefully I'll get time to do one of these again next week. We shall see. So yeah, thanks for coming along, and I will see you next time. And if you want to ask any questions, then drop in Discord and ask them, and I'll see you next time.